What is empathy, and why does it really matter so much at work? Aren't people supposed to know what they're expected to do, when to be there, come and do it, and isn't that enough? Are people just getting soft? You may think that or hear that as a manager, but it's important to understand what empathy really is and why it matters so much to your role as a manager or leader of people. Now, backing up, empathy is this idea of people feeling really seen and valued at work. And why it matters is because as a manager, you're managing a team of people. And those people have real emotions and lives inside and outside of work. You may hear people say sometimes, people don't leave jobs, they leave managers. And just like anything, there's no absolutes. People leave jobs for all sorts of reasons: geographic moves, more money, different career opportunity. But frequently, there is an aspect that how people feel like they're treated at work matters. It impacts how long they want to stay at a job and how they perform when they get there. So that's retention, how long they stay at a job, and engagement, meaning when you come to work, how much you care about your work, the type of effort that you put in. So as a manager, let's back up, and I know we're talking about empathy, but thinking about your interests. Because as a manager, no matter what your role or industry is, you're likely being assessed by your boss, your leadership on different targets. If it's in sales, things like sales revenue, meetings scheduled. In account management, renewals, or in customer-facing environments, you may have scores based on your teams and how they interact with customers, their speed of service, all of those aspects that really carry across. No matter what you're doing, you're being assessed on results. But empathy can be this thought of understanding that how you treat your employees and work with them can impact that retention and that engagement. So all of those things you're being assessed on, whether it's sales, customer facing, IT, any aspect, really is impacted by how your employees choose to show up. And whether you're having high turnover, you're constantly training and it's hard to get that work done, or your team members, how much they care about their work. Because think about it. As a manager, you may not have had the experience of having a good boss or manager that gave you that support. You may not have had that a lot in your career. Hopefully you have, but a lot of people haven't. But thinking overall in situations about a boss that you had, like what did they do? Was it that they cared about you, asked you questions? Did they, give you opportunities to try new things? Things like mistakes. If you made a mistake, were you so worried about what would happen? You spent more time worrying about that than actually dealing with the impact of cleaning up that mistake? Those types of aspects can make you not perform as much at work. It may make you, be physically ill, mentally ill. So either you're sick, you're not coming to work, or when you come to work, you're not caring about what you do. So as a manager, understanding that the ways you work with your employees, to be clear about what your job is to get the work done, but also the way you talk to and work with them can impact dramatically the way they show up for you and for your organization. So I frequently talk about in the videos and in the work that I do that as humans, so many people haven't had the experiences that they deserve at work. But as a manager, you have the power and the privilege to create that environment, even if it's one you've never had yourself. So how do you do that? A lot of times it is with questions, even stopping. The one question that I always recommend that managers have is thinking in any situation, what would I want to have happen to me or a loved one if they were in that situation? Thinking about that, how you approach things like hiring, getting back to candidates, onboarding, welcoming your team members. If someone's not performing, having a conversation rather than assuming the worst. And so adding in that. So in all of these videos I make, you'll see that as a common thread. And I'll be talking coming up of very specific ways to do that, like back to school when you have team members whose kids are all starting. How do you deal with that? How do you deal with team members who don't have kids? And so they're worried about getting time off as well. You'll see those topics covered, so feel free to add those in the comments. But know that empathy at work can make a difference for your team and for how you're judged on your own leadership.